Amy, just about as you're about to...
cut off.
Yeah, we cut off. I've got Amy back, right. Amy, we're looking at the Amber Lyons one. I've also obviously asked Amy, I've been talking to Amy about this. I was so pleased when Amber Lyons came on and talked about the fact that she told us that the press were bought and they're all buying the news. So make me a war, make me a disaster. And so that means our politicians are playing politics with us and just being a bunch of actors. But there was a few things about this. I'll say them and then you give your response. The first one was that she came on with all this great knowledge that we were being lied to. And I was like, hallelujah, at long last, I can see a reporter trying to tell us the truth. And then she was sort of sticking up for certain countries. And then in the next breath, she tells us how bad it is out there, that they're fighting, and there's rioting, and everything's really bad. So that's the first one. So what do you think about that one?
Well, I found it very confusing, and like you, when I first heard what she had to say, I was very impressed and very relieved. It was like a breath of fresh air, but then she becomes very confusing because now all of a sudden she's saying that things are so bad, and she's talking about that we have to protect a military complex that's in Bahrain, and so it was like she had a double message all of a sudden, so I didn't know what to make of it anymore. So it was just more confusion by the press.
I did show before, didn't I, about how they got us in to look at deepfake, and while they're getting us looking in at deepfake, they're telling us we're going to war in the middle of it. You know, it's just calmly, as if it's turning a page over in a book. Oh, we're going to war.
Yes. Yeah, just trying to constantly keep us in a state of fear and confusion.
And also attracting people in without telling them the truth, because you're getting there because, oh, it's deepfake, and then actually you're being told we're going to war. So why put that in there on a deepfake?
Now, the job of the media is supposed to be, this fourth estate and to, show, all possible angles and basically just to report the truth. What do you think it is? I know that you worked for CNN. Why would it be otherwise? Why would they be presenting war propaganda, as you call it?
Well, I really can't speculate as to exactly why this is going on, but I can tell you that when I was working for CNN, we did have a documentary that we aired on the Bahrain situation, and that's where we have our naval base, which is right across from Iran, so we strategically want to keep that naval base, and it was very difficult to get stories on about Bahrain. I even came out a couple weeks ago talking about the censorship of that documentary on CNN International. And above all, Liz, I feel that the American public is not being fed the true story about what's going on in this region, and it's very dangerous, because when the public is constantly fed messages that are potentially leading us into a war that may not be necessary, it's not fair to the American people, and it's not fair to journalism, because the truth isn't being told here. What's being told here is the way that these networks want to spin the truth, and that's leading us into another potential conflict with Iran. And I've been trying to tell my followers on my Facebook page and on Twitter to really open your eyes, because once you notice and start to you take the blindfold off, you start to see all of this anti-Iran propaganda floating through the American mainstream media, and it's symbolic of exactly what was going on before the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, Liz.
Now, we do have a clip of...
Because once you notice and start to you take the blindfold off, you start to see all of this...
of this documentary that you filmed. Want to take a look at it, and then we'll talk more about the documentary and the way CNN reacted to it.
The second bit is the bit that I knew this the other day before I put it out, but obviously what I put out, YouTube gave me an inappropriate. So these people are allowed to put it out and get their money, but anybody that talks about it or shows it or goes slightly against it or questions it gets a yellow. Yeah, and do you know what? I told Amy, my count for that video went up to 58, and then they took it down to 12. So they must have all been looking at it. And then they made me sit on, it was being, reviewed. And then, of course, this is inappropriate. So what did I do wrong? Nothing. They're the ones giving it all. Anyway, on to the next bit. We were watching it, and it just, because I actually originally, like you, I only saw the good that she was doing, and then I replayed it a few times, and then you suddenly catch this and you think, well, why is she doing that? So basically my point is, on this programme, CNN played her documentary, but they left this part, which is on the screen, out now. They didn't play it, right? So CNN didn't want to be any part of it. Yet RT News are playing a part which CNN were not allowing to air, and it's got a CNN logo on it. See? So
yes,
I'm telling you that if she wasn't allowed to play it, and there it is on national television on a bit of video which CNN refused to play. So what it was is, they played it on CNN, but they wouldn't put it on CNN International. But on CNN, they omitted this little clip, they said, of her video. But why has it got CNN on it? What's your thoughts about that, Amy?
I think it's just more proof of how all the mainstream media is just in on the lies and just constantly trying to confuse the people. I think that they just they don't want the truth out there, so they just mess with people's minds whatever way they
think
can.
that as well, though, that if CNN didn't want this played on their station at all, that she would be sued for putting CNN, leaving the CNN logo on a part of a video CNN refused to play?
Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah. So I don't understand that part at all either. I find it very confusing, and I wouldn't have even noticed the CNN logo if you hadn't have pointed it out.
But I've watched these videos about her quite a lot, because I kept looking at it. I actually put it on her on Unscrambled right at the beginning, but you know, now I'm got off the Watts case because I can't keep reporting it, because you know what they do to people like us who report anything against that. So, you know, to me, I wasn't expecting to see exactly the same thing happening with the president that happens with the Watts. You know, the footage is all wrong. But, you know, I've been watching it. It was only the other day when I thought, hang on a minute, she's saying two things here. She's saying, don't do this, and then the next day, yeah, but kill the rest of them. Or go to war with the rest of them. But this, I'm pretty sure that if CNN had said no, and they weren't playing a video clip from a documentary, and then she goes and airs it with a CNN logo, I'm sure CNN would sue her, wouldn't they?
I would think so, most definitely. So I have no idea what is going on with it. I just don't know what it is. Just more confusion.
So is she a plant? Is she giving us misinformation? Is it all hype for what she wants all around her?
Yes, I think that's a very strong possibility. Yes, she may very well be a plant, controlled opposition or whatever they call it. That's what I think about it. Because she gave us some
information, like people would have been, oh my goodness, it's disgusting, the news are being bought.
Yes.
And then tells us, but using a CNN logo, I'm pretty sure that CNN would have reprimanded RT and maybe even taken her to court for playing the piece of video that they didn't want play. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not agreeing with CNN. I'm just saying that that's what I can see. That it's like, say Amy has a book and she doesn't want me to play this part, and then I go and play it and I put her name on it, she could sue me.
Right. Yeah, so CNN, I guess, must have approved of it then.
It's not that they played the piece of video, it's the fact that they didn't just cover up the CNN logo. Because CNN did not want this part played. But isn't it strange? Right. Isn't it strange? It is played. And what's the logo you see? CNN.
Yes. Right. CNN, so it's CNN, like it's part of one big, you know, them working together to just really confuse the people. That's the only thing I can come to the conclusion of with it. Yeah. It's just terrible. I can't even look at any news anymore because I just don't know what's true. I feel like if I see it on the television that it's not really true. So I'm not even following any news anymore. It's gotten that bad.
The documentary that we just saw a clip of never aired. It never aired on CNN International. Why not?
Well, I still haven't been given an exact reason as to why not it didn't air. I went and visited with the president of Frauding, their own journalists. I was not told, as a journalist working at the network, that this was going on. It wasn't clearly disclosed to me that at the same time I was investigating the Bahrain regime, Bahrain was a paying customer at CNN, Liz.
And you did this all, you found this out all through your own research. What did CNN tell you in terms of when you were like, hey, why aren't you playing my documentary that I risk danger and to bring this story? And what did they tell you as to, why they weren't playing it?
Well, that's what made me more suspicious, is because they never gave us an answer. They never told us why they weren't.
Part of one big, them working together to just really confuse the people. That's the only thing I can come to the conclusion of with it.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. I can't even look at any news anymore because I just don't know what's true. I feel like if I see it on the television that it's not really true. So I'm not even following any news anymore. It's gotten that bad. Because they just constantly confuse us.
I feel the same, so don't worry. And it's just, I'm only watching the news, so I can report it back to everybody. What a load of rubbish it is. But Amy.
Yes.
Love you lots. Thank you very much for...
Oh, love you too, Karen. Thank you.